Sir, me, young man, you have no idea who you're dealing with.
Hello. Okay, so today we're going to talk about money because we can't discuss Jehovah's Witnesses unless we talk about money. It always amazes me how much information the general public doesn't have when it comes to being one of Jehovah's Witnesses. I had a door-to-door salesman come by the other day and I gave him props for being a good salesperson since I've been going door-to-door since I was 2. So he asked something like, "Oh, your parents were salespeople?" "No. I was a Jehovah's Witness kid." And he said, "They do that?" And I said, "What?" Anyhow, I tell him I wasn't raised a salesperson, which I guess is kind of a lie because I forgot. I was working for free for a publishing company and peddling their wares.
Let's do it.
So I ran across this video when I was up on jw.org. I am not going to tell you the name of the speaker because I cannot pronounce it.
I am Frau Blucher.
So while this is unrelated to going door to door, it still baffled me how little this young man knew about Jehovah's Witnesses. And this channel is mainly directed at those who have been in or out, so I don't usually take a whole lot of time to explain what I'm talking about, but maybe I should. Although I do like to take the Mary Poppins stance of,
I never explain anything.
what else are people that naive about? So this week, we're going to talk about Luke 16:9. Make friends by means of unrighteous riches. I'm click curious, so I clicked.
The text reminds us of using our financial means to make friends with Jehovah and Jesus. And
All right, that's literally how it starts. What do you say? Using financial means to make friends with Jehovah and Jesus?
using our financial means to make friends with Jehovah and Jesus.
Isn't that kind of what happened in Pretty Woman?
2,000.
3,000.
Done.
Even though Jehovah owns everything, seeing us giving, making sacrifices, makes him happy.
Okay, I totally get that. It's not uncommon for many religions, sometimes even families, to feel that sacrifice is what proves your loyalty and your love.
The result is a close relationship, or in the words of our scripture text, we become friends.
Whether it's sacrificing time, energy, money,
We become friends.
almost any Jehovah's Witness you will speak to will definitely say that the governing body and this organization is not driven by money.
Using our financial means to make friends with Jehovah and Jesus.
This talk is fucking crazy. Sometimes I think I whisper the F word because Jehovah is less likely to hear it.
Now, this important principle was known by the men of old. Now, in 2 Samuel chapter 24, we find David in a very difficult situation. Because of his own major mistake, he has lost Jehovah's favor. What would he do in order to reestablish this close friendship with Jehovah?
Could he do good works? Maybe go door to door in the ministry? Spread the word? Walk in the way of the future Christ? No. Jehovah doesn't want any of those things.
After repenting his sin and being faced with the consequences of his wrongdoing,
We're gonna need more.
he was told to build an altar on the threshing floor of Araunah. Let us see how David reacted when Araunah wanted to give this place to David as a gift. However, the king, David, said to Araunah, "No, I must buy it from you for a price. I will not offer up to Jehovah my God burnt sacrifices that cost me nothing." So David bought the threshing floor and the cattle for 50 silver shekels.
Jesus was only worth 30. All right, so this is bizarre to me to begin with. So you're going to tell me that the organization doesn't accept things for free? It's very interesting. I would love, if anybody has a story, let me know down in the comments, to hear about a time wherein, I don't know, your Jehovah's Witness grandmother died and left them the house, and that they said, no, we cannot accept anything for free. Anytime that's ever happened, would love to hear about it.
David understood that giving from his own material possessions, or in the words of our scripture text today, from his unrighteous riches, would make Jehovah happy. David wanted to give at a cost. Now, how are we imitating David in this regard? Let us look at some ways how we do this as individuals, as congregation, and as a global organization. How do we use our financial means to make friends in heaven.
The shitty thing is, while this is super, super direct, right? Basically saying if you want Jehovah to like you, love you, be your friend, you have to pay him. But you can't pay him, so pay us. And then somehow during this talk, they will justify it enough for the member to be like,
Fuck.
Many of us are being guided by a Bible principle found in 1 Corinthians 16. Here the Apostle Paul talks about a collection that likely involved money.
no, we are guided by the organization's interpretation of the scripture, which he just said may indicate money.
On the first day of every week, each of you should set something aside according to his own means so that collection will not take place when I arrive. Paul recommended that each Christian in Corinth make it a priority to set something aside to donate to those in need.
No. That's not what the principle is. Yes, he did say that each person, according to their means, should set aside a certain amount of money. However, this seems to me to be more of a directive of have your shit ready when I get there.
So that collection will not take place when I arrive.
I got lots of houses to go through and lots of money to collect. Can you have your shit ready when I get there? Thanks.
Despite the fact that special full-time servants have very limited financial means,
Buddy, you're going to have to get a little more fluid with your speaking if you ever think you're going to replace let.
many have established recurring donations on our website. In this way, we do not need to think about it every month.
God, that's so smart. You're not writing that check out ahead of time. No, it's an auto debit. Because we are imperfect, some of you, we will forget to cancel that subscription. I have $200 worth of wine sitting up on the internet somewhere for this very reason. And you too, for the low, low price of whatever you can't afford, can also become one of Jehovah's friends.
It won't cost much, just your voice.
Thank you so much for what you do in this regard. And can you see how Jehovah, your friend, loves you for doing this?
We teach kids from a very young age that people should like you and associate with you or love you based on your own merit, how you make them feel. But when you're raised one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you're taught exactly the opposite. If you want God to love you, it's gonna cost a pretty penny.
Now, what do we do as a congregation in order to use our funds to make friends in heaven?
It is freaking me out. They're deliberately saying how we're using money to make friends in heaven. I have never heard something so fucking direct in my life.
Can I ask you a question?
The Apostle Paul referred here to the collection we read earlier about.
You like to fuck?
He emphasized the reason for this collection.
Oh, you don't want me to talk to you like that?
For I do not want to make it easy for others, but difficult for you.
Well, you like to make love.
But that by means of an equalizing, your surplus at the present time might offset their need, so that their surplus might also offset your deficiency.
You really shouldn't mumble, because I can't understand a word you're saying.
For example, when it comes to donating for the Kingdom Hall and Assembly Hall program. Why?
Do tell.
First, the congregations themselves benefit from the local design and construction arrangement. That is why, for example, a nearby congregation who just benefited from this arrangement by remodeling their Kingdom Hall increased their monthly contribution to the program.
I don't understand why people don't recognize this as a business. That's why it is so important for all of us to spread the truth in a non-evil, non-aggressive manner. Unless you're feeling evil and aggressive.
I will smite thee.
What he's saying is that Jehovah's Witnesses want to raise more money when they want to build more stuff. What's really interesting, though, is we know a few years ago, congregations were starting to get melded. The kingdom halls themselves were being sold. Do you think that they returned any of that money to the congregants that built that hall to begin with?
You think that's air you're breathing now?
We're going to take the money. Shit, we can build a fucking palace here. Everybody claps, and then we'll sell it in 2 years. And then the congregants will be like, it's Jehovah's will.
But then there's this second reason in line with the principle that we just read. It is an expression of love for our brothers in other countries. As a congregation, we want to give. We want to make sacrifices to support the building and maintenance of these places of worship in other countries.
You should open your mouth a little wider when you speak.
Okay, so in order to keep it making sense to my little brain, I'm going to keep it local. So let's say a congregation needed a new building or some remodeling. And these guys over here in Alabama are like, oh my God, we have a whole storage facility of chairs and carpeting. Then I would anticipate that based on that first scripture in 2 Samuel, that the governing body and the congregation will have to say, no, we cannot sacrifice something we're getting for free. Do you think they do that?
Man, you must be about your mind.
No, they'll take the free shit.
The congregation does not just want to give the leftovers, so to speak.
Are you kidding me right now? Can you imagine going to like St. Vinny's or Salvation Army and you go, okay, I don't need these clothes anymore. So like I'm getting your leftovers? Because that is acceptable for Jehovah to tell you, I don't want your leftovers. I'm gonna need more. If I were to... I have 7 siblings in the house. I got a lot of brothers and sisters. It's a Mexican thing. Can you imagine that my clothes, once I grew out of them and passed them on to my sister, that if she looked at me and goes, I'm just getting her leftovers, that my mom would not have a knuckle to her mouth like... Pride comes before the fall. You don't be prideful. However, it's very important in many religions, but especially in this one, for them to manipulate the rules as they, see fit. Like every other villain in history.
Triton's undoing.
And all the brothers and sisters who are benefiting from this giving spirit, they say thank you. And Jehovah blesses the congregation.
Mumbler!
Now finally, how do we as a global organization use financial means in order to make friends in heaven? First of all, the scriptural arrangement has been put in place that the governing body is entrusted with decision making on how to use the financial means of the organization. And the funds are exclusively used for our purposes, which is our religious purposes. Let us please turn to Matthew chapter 10. It was Jesus who gave this instruction to his disciples here in Matthew chapter 10. Let's read verse 8. He said, cure the sick, raise up the dead, make lepers clean, expel demons.
If any Jehovah's Witness or non-Jehovah's Witness even attempted to
cure the sick, raise up the dead, make lepers clean, expel demons.
Yeah, those are all disfellowshipping offenses, I believe.
So now the principle, you received free, give free.
Oh, this is so confusing, because if you want to give something freely and say, okay, here's free, right? What Alejandro said to David, like, I'd like to give this to you for free.
However, the king, David, said to Araunah,
no, I would like to pay. But now we're like,
you received free, give free.
Let's don't fuck with people's heads at all.
Now, did the apostles follow this directive? Yes. And they even continued when Jesus died. The organization does the very same. We are not selling our Bibles in publication. We are not expecting or asking for admission fees to our meetings and conventions. We are not even having fundraising events.
This is true. They don't sell their publications. They sell a dream. They sell a promise. They sell a feeling. They sell a belief. And people like land.
They'll pay through the nose to get it.
They don't hold fundraisers because year-round they fundraise. That's what the ministry is. They get a lot of dinero from the congregation.
But then see that, for example, in 2018, the organization spent...
I cannot understand a single word you're saying.
Spent $214 million in supporting the circuit overseers, the missionaries, and the special pioneers. During the same time, 20,331 Bethelites served at the various branches. And we all got our modest allowance, and we all have something to eat.
Please, sir, I want some more.
For all these people that are doing the special work, they don't live for free, and it's gonna cost money. I'm starting to rethink my stance that the governing body and the Jehovah's Witness organization are a publishing company. I think they're more in the business of people.
Okay, you do. In you go.
Tell me I'm wrong.
In addition to the voluntary work of so many brothers and sisters, and in addition to their personal funds that they spend in order to help, the organization spends millions on the relief ministry.
They're not spending millions of dollars of their money that they've earned. They're spending millions of dollars of your money. I challenge you to find the Jehovah's Witness organization, i.e. the governing body, Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, has ever used funds to help anyone except another Jehovah's Witness.
So in this way, whether we look at it as from the perspective of an individual, the congregation, or the global organization, let us continue to give. Let us continue to make sacrifices, and we will be happy with having Jehovah and Jesus as our friends.
If you want to be friends with Jehovah and Jesus, it's going to cost you. And they're not just talking about the spiritual cost. They're talking literally about money. It's going to cost you some cash. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I feel like I could go on a rant about this for a while. So, until I calm down, I will see you next time.